Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing fractions. Before we get into that, I want you to take a minute. I'm going to have you try a couple of the ignites at the top of this page. So let's start by just trying the ignite number 1. Pause your video and then unpause when you want to check your answer. Hopefully you got an answer of 60 for that first one. Remember, for least common multiple, we want to make sure we break each of those the given numbers down. So each of these guys down into the smallest numbers that can multiply to give you that. All right. And then we look for each unique number. Those have to come down and be part of it. And then if there's multiple numbers, then we choose the largest from any of our original numbers lists. And then we multiply them all together. Now, if you want to take a second, now you're going to move to ignite number 2, pause your video, and then I want you to try this one on your own. Okay, check your answer. Hopefully you got a GCF of 4. Remember, the greatest common factor, you start by finding each of the factors of each of those numbers. So all the factors of 40, all the factors of 12, and then we compare. We start by saying, okay, well, which factors do they have in common? Technically, they have 3. They have 1, 2, and 4. And for the greatest common factor, we obviously choose the greatest. So that's how your final answer should be 4. Now, last but not least, number 3 is one that I would like you to try on your calculator. I know I said no calculator above this, but if you would like to do no calculator, go for it. But if you want to practice using your graphing calculator for this one, go for it. Pause your video and give it a shot. Final answer on number 3, you should have got 17 over 12. Now, if you didn't get that, in a moment, actually, today's goal actually is they're still working with fractions. So if that didn't make sense, then I'm gonna refresh your memories on how to use that graphing calculator. Because today all we're doing is we're continuing with the fraction theme, and we're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions. Now, I did say no calculator. We are changing that. So if you read those directions and you're like, Ms. Hardy, they say no calculator. That is not something that we're going to focus on this year, okay? But if you do need a refresher on how to do it in the graphing calculator, today is a good day for you. Now, I do have this list posted in Schoology, but as a reminder, remember there's certain buttons that you need to press in the calculator in order to get those fraction functions. The first thing that you're going to have to press is you're going to have to press the alpha button, which is on the left-hand side right below the second key. So once you press alpha, you're going to go ahead and you're going to press the Y equals button. This is the upper left-hand most button. It's one of those in the top row of buttons right below the screen. And then you really have 2 options. I usually just click enter. You could also select, you can either hit enter or you can just hit the number 1 key. Either one of these is absolutely fabulous. And the calculator function should pop up on your screen. Now, I am going to show you how to do that right now. So we're going to start off with question number 1. And obviously, we're multiplying. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to obviously share the calculator. But we're going to pull up our calculator on our own. And we're going to start by obviously following those steps. So I'm going to hit alpha, and then I'm going to hit y equals. And then I'm going to choose option number 1. And your fraction should pop up. So the question that we're trying to solve is 1/2 times 3/4. Now remember, you're going to type in 1 in the numerator, and then you have to actually physically use the down key to arrow down into the denominator, where I'm going to type a 2. Now you'll notice if I keep typing, things keep all typing in that denominator. Woo boy. Alpha. Too far, Miss Hardy. Alpha y equals 1. So if I type in my 1 over 2, in order to get out of the fraction, we have to press the right key, okay? And this is where I'm going to continue. I'm going to multiply 1/2, so I'm going to hit the times button, by the fraction 3/4. So I'm going to have to get another fraction. So alpha y equals number 1. And then I'm going to type in 3, arrow down to the bottom 4. And then I always just click out of it. It's a good habit to kind of get into. And then all you have to do is click enter. And we have our final answer of 3/8. So that is what we're going to type. 3/8. So what I want you to do after reviewing those steps, I want you to try the next 3 examples on your own. And pause the video now. Answers for 2, 3, and 4 are up on the screen. You should get -1/9 for number 2, -8/25 for number 3, and 16/3 for number 4. If you did not get those answers, then this is something that you definitely want to talk to Miss Hardy about. And the last thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is dividing fractions. And these we do in the exact same way. We just are going to use the division function instead of the multiplication function. So if I'm going to do 1/2 divided by 3/4, example number 5, again, we go back to alpha y equals number 1. I'm going to do 1/2 divided by 3/4. So I'm going to hit now instead the divide key. And then obviously alpha y equals option number 1, 3/4. Now, for those of you, if you hit enter, we get our final answer. There is another cool aspect of this calculator that you can do. Because if you'll notice, this example was almost identical to question number 1, which you see on the calculator right now. So if I go up to that, what's cool is if you press the up arrow, let's say you wanna, what's cool is if you highlight that previous example and you click enter, what it does is it brings it down into that line and it's like you just typed it. So what's cool about that is that if all you wanted to do about a problem, let's say I accidentally hit divide instead of multiply, or I accidentally hit multiply instead of divide, all you have to do is highlight the key that you want to change and just type the new key. And you could type and then just hit enter. And that's another way you could have gotten this. So cool fraction features, but the point is that the answer to that question is 2/3, which if this pops up, there we go. Answer to number 5 ends up being 2/3. So now is the time I want you to pause your video and then I want you to try typing the next 3 in on your own. Answers for 6, 7, and 8 are now up on your screen. Again, if you did not get those, then that's something that's a great idea to go check with Miss Hardy. It might be just that you were typing them incorrectly. If you got an error message that popped up on your calculator, it's probably because you used a subtraction sign instead of a negative sign. Remember, the negative sign is the button to the left of the enter key on the calculator. So just double check that you were correctly using that as you were typing this in. Now, if you could take a moment, obviously I'm gonna have you go down to the bottom and I'm gonna have you try examples 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good luck. And again, pause the video right now. Time to check your answers. If you did not get any of these answers, this is the point in time where I would raise my hand and obviously, or not raise my hand, but either raise my hand or go talk to Miss Hardy and kind of see if you can figure out why you got these wrong, okay? Good luck. And again, as always, even if you don't have questions on these, if you have questions on anything over this day, feel free to go talk to Miss Hardy. All right.